Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our adult viewers, and a very special welcome to our young and young adult viewers. Welcome to the program 30 Lessons in the Life of the Last Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Welcome to episode number 13 from the program My Religion is Not for Sale. Episode 13, My Religion is Not for Sale. As we mentioned previously, brothers and sisters, the Prophet began inviting people to Islam secretly. However, as Islam began to spread and more people embraced it, the news of this new rival religious movement got out. At first, the pagans paid little attention to the Prophet ﷺ and those who had chosen to follow him. But as the number of Muslims increased and the fundamentals of the new faith were internalized by the leaders of Meccan society, the new religion, which emphasized strict monotheism and prohibited all forms of idolatry, was perceived as a threat to their pagan religious traditions and way of life. In response to the perceived threat, the pagans chose to use diplomacy. And for our younger viewers, diplomacy is a big fancy word that basically means they wanted to resolve the conflict, resolve the problem in a nice way, if possible. So they wanted to use diplomacy to either completely eliminate or at least minimize the threat of the new religion. On one occasion, according to the historians, the pagans offered the Prophet ﷺ a bribe. And again, for our younger viewers, a bribe basically means someone gives someone something of value in exchange for them doing what they want them to do. So I want you to do X and you really don't want to do it, but I'll give you something that you value. In exchange for that, you do what I'm asking you to do. So they offered the Prophet a bribe to stop preaching altogether. They offered him a bribe of some sort. In exchange for that, they wanted him to stop preaching altogether. Just give up his religious beliefs and stop preaching. And they asked his beloved uncle, Abu Talib, to convey the message, thinking that if Abu Talib asks him, then he will respond. He will do it because he loves Abu Talib so much. So they thought, we're going to offer him something of value. That'll incentivize him, convince him. And if that doesn't convince him, in addition to that, we'll have his uncle ask him because he loves his uncle so much, he'll go along with it. In response to this bribe, it is reported that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "My dear uncle, I swear by Allah, if they were to put the sun in my right hand and the moon in my left hand, on the condition that I abandon conveying Allah's message to the people, I would never abandon it. I will never abandon it until Allah either makes me successful or I die trying to succeed." On another occasion, the chiefs of Mecca, or one of the chiefs of Mecca, Utbah ibn Rabi'ah, came to the Prophet ﷺ and made the following offer on behalf of the other chiefs. He said, "O Muhammad, if you are doing all of this seeking to get rich, we, the leaders of the tribes, will all join together and give you from our wealth until we make you the richest man Quraysh has ever known. If you are driven by ambition, we will make you our chief. If you desire to be crowned king, we will readily crown you as such. And if you are under the power of an evil spirit, which haunts and influences you beyond your control, and you are unable to shake off its yoke, then we shall summon skillful physicians to cure you of your illness." The Prophet refused this proposal so strongly that the pagans became convinced that he was so firmly committed to his religion, practicing it and spreading it, that he was not about to give it up under any circumstances. So they considered meeting him in the middle of the road, reaching a compromise of sorts. They were willing to compromise some of their faith if the Prophet would also be willing to compromise some of his faith. Basically, they wanted the Prophet to give up something or part of what he believed in. In exchange, they would give up part of what they believed in. They wanted to meet the Prophet in the middle. One day, a group of pagans, which included Al-Aswad ibn al-Muttalib, Al-Walid ibn al-Mughira, Umayyah ibn Khalaf, and Al-As ibn Wa'il al-Sahmi, confronted the Prophet. He was circling the Kaaba, and they said, "O Muhammad, come, let us worship what you worship, and you worship what we worship. We can be partners in this matter." And what that shows you, brothers and sisters, is that for the pagans, religion was a business. It was a way of making money. And they feared that if they shunned the idols, gave up the idols, and worshiped God alone, they would lose their means of livelihood. They would lose a source of revenue. If we give up the idols, O Muhammad, this is our main source of revenue. So let's meet in the middle. Let's be partners. We can worship your God. You worship our God. We can win and you can win. If the one you worship is better than what we worship, then we will get some kind of benefit. Meaning, if you're bringing a new God and the people like this God better, he's more popular, then that'll be good for all of us. You can win and we'll win. And if our gods are better than your God, and you worship our God, you will get some benefit, meaning you will profit from this. So in their mind, it was all about what? About making money. Religion for them was a source of revenue. Obviously, it was not a source of revenue for the Prophet. It was not a business for the Prophet. They went on to say, "O Muhammad, worship our gods for 1 year, and we will worship your God for 1 year." Whereupon Allah revealed in response, the Prophet, and rather than the Prophet responding himself, Allah responded for him and told him what to tell them. He said, "قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد لكم دينكم ولي دين." Allah revealed, "Say, O Muhammad, in reply to their compromise, O you disbelievers, I do not worship what you worship, nor are you worshippers of the one I worship, nor will I be a worshipper of what you worship, nor will you be, with your compromise, worshippers of what I worship." Which means, if you worship gods along with God, with Allah, you are not worshiping Allah. That's what the Prophet means when he's told, "Nor will you be, with your compromise, worshippers of what I worship. You have your religion, and I have my religion." Brothers and sisters, what lessons can we learn from what we heard today? Number one, unfortunately, there are people in the world who feel threatened by the truth and therefore try to prevent the spread of truth by any means. And you're going to see this more. We've seen today one of the means that the pagans of Mecca tried to employ to stop the spread of truth, which was bribery. But they didn't stop there. They employed numerous means, and we're going to see that as the days go on, the different ways they try to stop the spread of truth. Shows you they'll resort to anything, nothing. There's no level that they won't stoop to. People say, "How can you stoop so low?" There was no level that they were not willing to stoop to stop the spread of truth, and we'll see this as the days go on. Number two, from the lessons, one of the tactics of the people, one of the tactics of these people who try to stop the spread of truth is bribery, as we've seen. And bribery has many forms, and those forms evolve as the times change. So in our time, one of the most common forms of bribery is acceptance. And this is something which is very important for our young brothers and sisters, that many times you go to school, whether it's grade school, whether it's high school, whether it's the university, you go to school and you meet with people from other faiths. And they're the majority, you're the minority. You might be in a school and you might be the only Muslim. Or there might be very few Muslims. And basically, they want you to what? To give up what you believe in. They want you to compromise your religious beliefs. And they suggest to you, they basically tell you, sometimes they tell you explicitly or they'll tell you implicitly. They'll tell you compromise and we'll accept you into our group. We'll make you one of us. But you have to what? You have to leave your religion at the door. And many of us, we have this desire internally inside of us. We want to belong. We want to belong to something. We want to belong to some people. Be part of a fraternity or sorority. Brothers and sisters, this is a bribe. This is another form of a bribe. And in our religion, we don't accept bribes. Which brings us to the third lesson, We Muslims must realize and constantly remind ourselves and each other. Remind ourselves and remind each other as Muslims, as fellow Muslims. Remind each other all the time. Our faith is not and must never be for sale. The non-Muslims cannot pay us enough because nothing is more precious than Iman, our faith, and Islam or Deen, our religion. Notice what the Prophet said. He said, if they put the sun in my right hand and the moon in my left hand, meaning no matter what they give me, I won't leave my faith. Nothing they can give me is as valuable as faith, as being a believer, as having eternal bliss in the hereafter. Nothing is as valuable as that, especially not what their acceptance, letting us be part of their groups. Number 4 from the lessons, a true Muslim never compromises his or her religious fundamentals. Underscore the word fundamentals. Like a tawheed. Notice they told him, worship our gods, we'll worship your gods. Okay? The Prophet said, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ لَا أَعْبُدُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ. Oh, you who believe, oh, you disbelievers, I will never worship what you worship. I'm not going to compromise my religious fundamentals. Another religious fundamentals is moral standards and the belief that certain things are okay, they're legal, they're allowed, and some things are not okay, they're illegal, they are not allowed. We won't compromise this religious fundamental. And this is important because we believe, as Muslims, that some behaviors, some actions, they are immoral, they are abhorrent, they are repugnant, they are abnormal, if you will. We believe that, and therefore they are illegal to us. And we live in a society where people accept those behaviors. They even promote them and encourage us to accept them as well. But this will violate, if we accept it, will violate our religious fundamentals. And so we don't accept it. Because why? Because a true Muslim never compromises his or her religious fundamentals. And the 5th and final lesson for tonight's episode is that we as Muslims have our own unique religious identity, which is fundamentally different from that of the non-Muslims. يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ لَا أَعْبُدُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ وَلَا أَنْتُمْ عَابِدُونَ مَا أَعْبُدُ. Oh, you disbelievers, I do not worship what you worship, nor are you worshippers of the one I worship. لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَ دِينِ. You have your religion, I have my religion. And so, because we have this unique religious identity, fundamentally different from that of the non-Muslims, we should embrace these differences. Yes, there's some differences. We're not the same. And we embrace those differences. And we're proud of them. We don't shy away from them as Muslims just because we live in a society which is not Muslim. So, for example, our young sisters, our beautiful young sisters wearing their scarves and hijabs, wearing their long flowing garments and loose-fitting clothing. They are modest because of this. This is a clear display of modesty. And they live in a land where immodesty is the norm. And they shouldn't be ashamed of being different from non-Muslim women and non-Muslim girls in this way. That they are modest and the non-Muslims are immodest. There's a difference, there's a disparity there. Our sisters should not be ashamed of being different from the non-Muslims in this way. Different from them in a good way. It's like a person, some people lie and some people tell the truth. The people who tell the truth should not be ashamed of telling the truth, being different from the liars in this way. In the same way, we should not be ashamed of those fundamental religious differences, that unique religious identity that makes us stand out, stick out like a sore thumb. If the thing that makes us stick out is something which is good and virtuous, like in the case of our sisters wearing hijab. And with that, we'll come to a close. But before we do, I'd like to repeat the question of the week. We gave it yesterday. We'll repeat it again today, so that those of you who missed it yesterday will have it today and can go to our website and can go ahead and submit your answer. And inshallah ta'ala, we have another day. And then on Friday, the receipt of answers will close in the evening on Thursday. And on Friday, we will give the answer and also announce the winner of this week's competition for Question of the Week. The question of the week, as we said yesterday, is: after the first words of revelation were revealed to the Prophet, the revelation was suspended for a few days. What were the two possible reasons given for this? Again, after the first words of revelation were revealed to the Prophet, the revelation was suspended for a few days. What were the two possible reasons given for this? And with that, we will close. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless your houses, to bless your spouses. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless your month of fasting, to accept your fasting, to accept your prayers, to accept your dhikr, to accept your dua. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us all from those who are utaqa'i Ramadan, from those who will be liberated and freed from the hellfire in this month of Ramadan. We ask Him to make us from those who listen to the talk and follow the best of it. And we ask Him to make us from those who He teaches beneficial knowledge, and from those who He benefits from the knowledge He teaches us by practicing it. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.